pizza that they just got on their way home from work, and it's very distracting, and I have to close that window.
What?
It just looks really good.
Pizza.
I had pizza already this week, so not happening. But
You can have it twice. It's not
I
against the
know,
law.
I know.
When
But
when
I
did
always
that become
overdo
a-
it, and then I
checked,
have too many leftovers, and then I feel
Patreon, please?
bad, and I don't want to. Then I'm eating pizza for 3 days, and
I worked at a place that people used to like, I can't eat that again. It's like, why not?
Good day, internet.
Hello, internet.
Hello, internet.
hello, internet.
That's like
Internet, what's happening?
Roger, I used to have a cousin who worked at Noah's Bagels, and we lived close enough to each other where just at the end of the day, she would come home with like just 10 bagels. She was like, they were gonna go into the trash.
Yeah.
Why not just bring them home?
Thank you.
you can
And
make.
boy, did I eat a lot of bagels that year.
I mean, it's good.
Bagels
are
for
good.
dinner, bagels for breakfast.
I mean, why not? I mean, like I tell people I eat Chinese food all
There's
the
some
time.
reasons
It's
why
true.
not. They were good though.
I mean, like when people say, "Oh, I can't eat
Yeah?
Italian," I already had pasta this week. It's like, no, what are you talking about?
I will have pasta twice in a day. I love pasta.
But I don't understand. Like, I mean, yes.
Well, I think it's a carb counting thing for some people, or just wanting variety in general.
Well, Italian food encompasses more than just pasta.
That's true.
yeah.
Branzino.
Right. It includes pizza.
Pizza includes.
I used to eat so much pizza when I worked
Calzones.
at Domino's.
Oh, man.
Sabar.
Did you Same here, Shannon. I actually worked at Pizza Hut too, and I got a lot of pizza in my system. I was more pizza than person.
I used to smell like pepperoni every day.
I want to
Did you-
assume,
I'm
Tom, that
curious.
Pizza Hut was in your younger days when Pizza Hut was delicious.
Right.
When was it an
Definitely
actual,
my younger days.
was it an actual restaurant?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
you
it
went
was-
in?
I was the delivery driver for the restaurant, but it was an actual Pizza Hut
Whoa.
restaurant where you could go in and sit down. And,
I didn't even know Pizza Huts were restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe just
Didn't
not
they,
in my
didn't
area.
they have a salad bar, or am I
Yes.
crazy?
Yeah, they had a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
Okay,
salad bar.
I remembered. Yeah.
They were
And
one of
ours
the
was,
first
like,
ones to do the
had
sneeze
comfy booths with like
Yeah.
one
Some
feet.
video.
and they had the
know,
little
furnishings.
chandeliers with like that
Yep. Yeah,
80s
yeah.
kind of
Yep.
stained glassy
it was a
feel to it.
whole
Oh,
restaurant.
like that sounds like Round Table.
Well, this is the
It was
thing.
like a round table.
I preferred Round Table over all the other pizza chains.
I did too.
Shane in Patreon chat says the Pizza Hut salad bar was the first place they ever saw kale.
Oh, I thought that's where they met their
whoa.
wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, look at you, Pizza Hut. Really setting the trend.
They
Do you
probably
guys
got it
remember
before it gets
Sizzler?
Yes.
Steak,
Oh,
seafood
remember.
salad.
Still
Have
Sizzler.
eaten there
Yeah.
recently.
Oh, it still exists.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Sizzler had gone out of business.
No,
Oh,
they're
no.
not Chi-Chis.
No.
No, they're still around.
Wow. Oh, God, I love
In
Sizzler.
fact,
Cheese bread.
Lamar Wilson likes to eat at Sizzler, and so do I. So we've had many a fine.
There's
dinner.
Well, that makes me happy. Invite me next time because I thought
Okay,
Sizzler was
yeah,
like the last time I went there was in high school.
You might be thinking of Ponderosa or what's the other steak?
No,
chain?
I was definitely thinking of
Steakhouse,
Sizzler.
Ponderosa. They were all wonderful.
Oh yeah, Bonanza, Ponderosa. Yeah.
There was also-
Shane
coming
wanted
back.
to add that the kale was not there to eat at the Pizza Hut salad
Oh, it
bar.
was
It was just a
decoration.
garnish between items on the bar.
What?
Now that does track. Yes.
You know, somebody tried to eat that kale, though.
Oh yeah. Years after
I
they
mean,
should have.
when I was a kid, the only thing at the
Yeah.
salad bar I would
Let's
get
be healthy.
were
Let's throw it on
were
top.
the croutons, and I assumed the croutons were made over with leftover pizza dough.
They
They
were
might
not.
have been.
They were not. They were just
Well, not at our location.
Maybe.
they weren't.
No.
They were handcrafted by the.
No, they came out of a
crouton
big
chef.
plastic bag.
There was also in that vein
Like
there was
most of the food
Hometown Buffet, which I think still exists.
Oh,
Hometown
I got
buffet,
sick
yeah.
there. I don't eat there anymore.
Got it. Okay, we won't talk
Sorry.
about Hometown Buffet. What's another one? There was
Hometown
another.
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral.
Oh,
Mountain
yeah.
Jacks. Does anybody remember Mountain Jacks?
Mountain
Yes.
Jacks.
Oh,
We have-
That
there's a
sounds
Mountain
like
Mike's.
fun though.
We don't have a Mountain Jacks.
Like you just walk in with an axe.
What about the ground round?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I don't
rather
know that
have
one.
That's a Midwest thing.
Miss
Yeah.
West
Is
Is that the
thing.
one where you had peanut shells all over
Yeah.
the ground?
And you could throw them on the ground.
Oh, I thought that was that one place in San Diego. Where,
More than one place does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that. It's like
I don't understand that.
Hanono's in Venice does that. Just
I
throw 'em
don't
on the
know.
ground.
Just the floor should be clean. I don't need to be stepping over.
That's
a lot
the
of
fun of
places
the
have
ground
stopped
round.
doing it just because folks who have peanut allergies can never step foot in those places.
right?
Yeah.
Not to mention the slip
One
and
of the
fall
waiters
lawsuits.
comes up with like a handful of peanut dust. It's just like
Bless you.
I don't know what is going on with me. I've been sneezing up a storm all week.
I wouldn't mind Sizzler.
Did you walk by our ground round?
I don't even know what a ground round is.
Oh,
Are this,
my
how much
goodness.
are the steaks at Sizzler? Are they still pretty cheap?
I mean, relatively, yeah.
Like they're only $20 instead of.
There was also
$40.
what was that? There was another one. It was called like Fresh Eats, or it was another buffet type thing.
You're thinking of Fresh Choice.
Fresh Choice. I used to love
And
Fresh
I
Choice.
made the mistake of starting with the salad when you should skip the entire line and get to the end, skip the carbs, and just go for the things that cost them the most money. Right?
You
go
should
for the
eat what you like to eat. don't just like force yourself to eat the
No,
things
you
that cost the
need
most
to
money.
get the value out of a buffet, and so you have to be very tactical in your approach.
Tom Rogers thought a lot about this. Okay.
I could tell, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Listen,
yeah.
You know,
I know what
You
Maple-
want value.
I know
You
what
want
Cisco
value.
charges. For
I don't
their-
care if I enjoy it. I want
1
value.
minute.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I mean, every time I used to hit the buffets in Vegas, I'd always go to the fresh fruit, like all the expensive fruit.
Oh, I thought
not-
Rob was just upset with our conversation about buffets, but I think he had an internet problem.
They have hand cut steaks.
He didn't storm out in anger.
What do you mean you don't know round ground?
Eat the most expensive items.
Round.
Round.
It's also known as
Round?
Yes.
round.
Did you guys
Oh, I
have
thought it was
Red
round
Barns?
ground.
Did you guys
Ground
have red,
round.
Ground
That's another
round.
way for. Is it another term for ground meat?
ground. So if I saw that, I would be
Welcome
like,
back,
"Oh, it's a
Rob.
coffee shop," because grounds. Yeah,
And
I've never
It's
seen
ground
it before.
beef in the round.
Yeah.
What's the round?
The
means it's
round
naked.
steak.
I don't know what that is. Is the
Like
steak
rump?
a circle?
There's different parts of the animal that become different parts of your dinner.
Okay.
Have
Yeah.
a good show, everybody.
Good day, Internet, everyone. This is DTNS Live for Thursday, November 20th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Studio 7 in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
From Studio Colorado, I'm Shannon Morse.
Drawing the top tech stories. From Cleveland, Ohio, I'm Len Peralta.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
DTNS Live is made possible by you. Thanks to all of you, including AB Puppy, Dale Mulcahy, and Matt Zaglin,
Yay.
among all of you.
And welcome one and all to DTNS Live. This is the show where we discuss this week's tech news and help us all understand it a little bit better as we go through it together. Hand-holding not required, but encouraged. Digitally.
That's so cute.
How's everybody doing? Shannon Morse, when's the last time you held hands?
With who? My cat this morning.
There you go. See?
Hand to
hands
paw. That counts, right?
We do feet to paw.
encompasses many species. Yeah.
Yes. I just
How's
celebrated
life in
my
Colorado
40
otherwise?
Good. I just celebrated my 40th birthday.
Congratulations.
That's nuts.
Happy
Yay.
birthday.
Day. It's Windows'
exciting.
birthday today.
Oh, yeah.
It
And the
is.
Wii.
Also, Windows' 40th birthday.
Woo!
Are you guys
We're
going
like
to
the
party
same
together?
age.
Yeah.
We honestly we should. Like I've been friends with Windows since I was a little baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're a couple days older, though.
DOS
so.
wasn't even
I
around
am.
when I was a little baby. Oh, I feel old.
We should have a birthday together.
You should. You
Yeah,
definitely should.
we'll just call up Windows when we're done here, and
Okay.
just kind of float the idea for 41.
Maybe grab some sushi or something.
Great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Doing
Older.
okay.
Yeah, we're all doing good.
Yeah,
Good.
it's fun to be on DTNS Live Thursdays. We used to do this every day. Now it's once a week. And for those of us who join us live, watching video and audio, or even after the fact, it's fun. We all get to be together at the same time.
Yeah, it's our weekly
that's-
gathering.
It makes it like the fun Thursday.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm still getting used to it because for me, it was like Fridays.
You
were
only
like-
came on Fridays before,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Thursday's the cooler day, Lynn.
I guess. Yeah. Thursday is a cooler day.
Well, speaking of watching live, you can help name our episode as we go through the show. Head on over to dtns.showbot.tv to submit titles. You can vote on other people's titles as well. And we'll check back in on the votes at the end of the show and pick one of you. And just a reminder, we have an extended show for our patrons. It's going to be a fun game today. Roger has outdone himself.
Again.
But first, let's kick it off with a few stories that caught our eye.
Big story of the week is Google launching Gemini 3, a new series of models that should be smarter and more accurate. Gemini 3 Pro is multimodal, so it can process text, images, and audio at the same time. You don't have to do separate tasks for it. Gemini 3 Pro will come to all users in the Gemini app, and paying subscribers will get Gemini 3 Pro in search. You look for the thinking option from the model dropdown. We also got a pro version of Nano Banana, a bunch of other stuff. Big week for the Gemini. A lot of praise for this model, too.
It may be more accurate. It may be better, but it is also slow. So I use it on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to switch back to 2.5 because it's just like I'm so used to just asking a question and instantaneously getting the answer, and that has not been my experience with 3. Now, maybe I need to clear my cache or something like that. There's a lot of recommendations of what you can do, but thus far, my experience is that it's not faster, at least not on mobile.
Instead of Gemini 3 Pro, it's Gemini 3 Slow.
Get it? Get it?
If you have to ask if people get it, it was not a good joke.
Waymo is adding Minneapolis, New Orleans, and Tampa. Sorry, New Orleans. Somebody's going to correct me on that through email if I don't get it right. And Tampa to its
Nevada.
U.S. expansion plan. So yeah, 3 new major cities, starting with manual driving this week. So not fully driverless, but they're wanting to get there. Waymo operates driverless cars in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Phoenix, Austin, and Atlanta, with more U.S. cities planned for 2026, plus international launches in both London and Tokyo. Some challenges. Minneapolis has snow. New Orleans has a lot of pedestrians. So these are cities where you're going to have to navigate some things a little bit differently. Zoox and Tesla, both other companies, also heavily investing in this robotaxi space.
I mean, those are the U.S. companies. There's also a ton of Chinese companies investing in this space as well. Yeah, it's becoming widespread. It may not be pervasive because parts of Minneapolis are going to have this before my neighborhood in Los Angeles gets it. But it's spreading across the United States, into Europe, all over China, into other Asian markets as well. Like, it is a slow march to autonomous driving, but it's definitely happening.
I wonder if Lynn and I here in Ohio will get it this decade, because this kind of stuff always comes late to Ohio.
If they can figure out Minneapolis, then the winter weather shouldn't be a big problem.
Yeah.
You mean before like 2030? You
Yes.
I think so. I think it would be a limited trial, but yeah, I definitely. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, I'm in the Ohio of Los Angeles. You all had rentable scooters in Cleveland before I had them in this neighborhood. So
wow.
We'll compare notes here and see what happens.
A University of Cambridge report highlights widespread anxiety in the UK fiction industry over generative AI. A majority of published novelists, roughly 51%, fear AI could replace their work, and 85% anticipate reduced income. Major concerns include the unauthorized use of their work to train AI, a loss of originality leading to blander fiction, and inadequate copyright laws. So it's like over half, just over half are really concerned about this.
I mean, honestly, it feels low. I feel like every author I ever talk to or see posting is talking about how concerned they are. So I was surprised this wasn't more.
It does feel like feels like early days of concern. It's like to be concerned and then later on say, you know what, didn't really affect my bottom line too much. People are still reading my stuff. I'm enjoying my livelihood. That could be the answer for some of these authors. But it's I think it's very fair to have concern.
I mean,
I'm with Tom though. I thought the number would have been like 81%. I thought it would have been really high because most people are going to react negatively to anything that's new, regardless of whether the reaction is valid and baked in reality or not. This one is kind of baked in reality. And I'm surprised that it's only 51%.
I'm wondering if maybe the other 49% is like, hey, I'm using these tools. They're great copy editors.
That's a
They're
good
great
point.
whatever.
Right.
For that one use case scenario where they don't have to pay someone else to do it.
Yeah, and they see the limits to them and are like, "Oh yeah, that's not going to compete with my audience is not going to turn
It's
to
more
AI."
sophisticated than this.
Yeah, it could be. Let's.
Well, those were 3 stories that caught our eye today. All right, let's discuss some juicy stories. Robb has double E hockey sticks frozen over because now you can airdrop from an Android to an iPhone.
Sarah, I'm kind of wondering. So Google has updated Quick Share. That is their version of AirDrop, and essentially it now works with AirDrop. If you are on at least a Pixel device. Now, this is going to be coming to other Google devices soon, I would imagine. But it's kind of weird because this has been something that Apple has always said, if you want to use AirDrop, get an Apple device. So in a blog post, Google stated that this implementation using everyone for 10 minutes mode is just the first step in a seamless cross-platform sharing. The company also expressed a willingness to collaborate with Apple, adding, quote, "We welcome the opportunity to work with Apple to enable context-only mode in the future." So my question to you guys is this a thing? Is it kind of a thing or not really a thing? Because as I said, this has been it's been something that has not been we have not been able to do this for so long that there's many other ways to get around this. And
so
I
many
think
workarounds.
It's just by default, you just use WhatsApp or you use something else. And I'm just wondering, does this really even matter today?
Yeah. Duh. Yes, it still matters. At least it matters to me. I'm an Android user and my entire family is on iPhone. So every time we take a vacation anywhere, I basically have to create a Google Photos folder and have them upload all of their pictures to the folder so that they're all high resolution, because we are in group chats and everything, and RCS has saved us in that sense. But uploading to the folder is just so much easier and more convenient than having them text like 10 pictures at a time and like flood our entire group chat. Yeah. So we've been doing that for a long time, and being able to airdrop with my sister will be way better. But I am a little concerned that they said it's the everyone for 10 minutes feature instead of contacts only at the moment because of the way that they are doing this implementation, which is understandable. But please don't use this in like a public environment, because everyone for 10 minutes means you could be accidentally sharing to Brittany's iPhone, but there could be like 5 Brittany's iPhones in the vicinity. So make sure you're sharing
Brittany
with the correct people.
Yes. You don't want them to have vacation photos.
Don't be dropping the wrong pictures to the wrong people. You know what I'm saying?
She's toxic.
I mean, even as an iPhone user who also uses Mac OS on my Mac Mini that I'm using right now, and then my MacBook Air in the other room, AirDrop used to be kind of squirrely. It would sort of work, but it didn't always work. This is years ago. And so I just kind of forgot about it. And so if I had taken a bunch of photos on my phone and for whatever reason I wanted to use them on my Mac, yes, they're also supposed to sync using the Photos app, which kind of works, but it doesn't really work in real time. Sometimes they would just take a while to show up. And so I would end up just messaging all of that stuff to myself. Not the end of the world, but it was cumbersome. It was clunky. It wasn't a great solution. AirDrop, I don't know what they did, and maybe it's just because I'm using it with more folks, but as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network as somebody, it's like, hey, you want those 10 photos I just took of you at the picnic we were at? Yes, boom, done, all good. So it works so great. I can only imagine how annoying it would be for you, Shannon, to be like, yeah, it would be great if it worked, but let's do a Google folder instead, just for everyone's sanity. So if this makes that easier, then I don't see what's wrong with it.
I am in the same boat as Shannon. I am an Android user, have been forever. And I remember when, my kids, when they were like in sports, this is when AirDrop was like huge, because you could take a picture and you're not necessarily just getting your kids, you might be getting other kids, and you could just share that picture out. And it was like, man, if you were on an Android device, you were just always kind of left out until everybody said, well, let's just use Google Photos. It makes it easier. That way everybody can get it, because although Android here in the United States does dominate, or I should say iPhone in the United States dominates, there's still a lot of Android users out there. But I just think over the years, over the last probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years, there's just every other tool out there that allows you to share. And I know even iPhone users that are like, oh, I'll just send it to you on WhatsApp, or I'll just do it this other way. So I'm kind of wondering, is this a big deal? I kind of want it to be a big deal, but I'm with you, Shannon, on this. It won't be a big deal until they can actually get this to work with contacts, because it is pretty unsecure to just open it up to everybody for 10 minutes. Because if you're in an airport and people are doing that, people are looking to see whether or not you've just opened it up and seeing what they can send you, seeing what they can get. So that could be very, very problematic.
Now, let's be honest. I know none of us on this panel do it, but everybody else just gets frustrated trying to get the contacts thing to work and opens it up to everyone for 10 minutes at some point, because I've seen that happen with my family. And I think this is a different appeal to different types of families. If you are an all iPhone family, you don't care at all. But what I've run into in our family is most of Eileen's family are on iPhones, but there's always that boyfriend of one of the cousins who's on Android. And you're like, oh, okay, well, can you forward that to him? Because everybody else is getting it off of Tita's Airdrop, right? And I think if you're in a family where maybe more people are on Android, you've probably figured out other ways of doing it, and you're not going to be all excited about this right away. But it's going to be those families where you've got a few different operating systems and maybe enough iPhones that people use it all the time, but there's always that one or two people who don't, that you're like, oh, great, now we can actually share with everybody, which is great.
I think when Google acquired Quick Share from Samsung, they added some pretty cool features to it. One of them is that you can actually create a link or a QR code, so you can just give the link to anybody and then get all your files in high def. But it's still an extra step. You still have to do something extra to do it. So I hope this this comes to fruition to where eventually it'll be contacts and it just works, and you can just share from iPhone to Android and Android to iPhone, and everybody is happy.
Agreed.
Well, we're all agreeing on this one. Well, Tom, Nvidia had a strong earnings report this week, settling at least some people's fears that the AI bubble was about to burst. But let's talk about that bubble. Are we still in one?
It depends on who you ask, Sarah. I got a couple of headlines that illustrate the differing of opinions here. Wall Street Journal with Nvidia's strong results show AI fears are premature. But then Reuters Trading Views saying Nvidia relief won't be enough to dispel tech bubble angst. They're both true. They're just, different angles on this. Then you also had the CEO of Hugging Face saying we're not in an AI bubble. We're in an LLM bubble. So I figured we all had a thought or two on this. It seems like the bubble's not bursting this week, but let's go around the horn. Let's start with you, Rob. Do you think we're in a bubble, AI or otherwise?
I do think that we're in a bit of a bubble. I don't know, however, that all bubbles are necessarily horrible things unless when they burst, the market crashes. And I think when it comes to AI, there's a lot of AI going because this is new. We've been in this bubble now for 3 years, I guess. But the thing is, I don't know that AI is going to be unnecessary before the power that we need to generate the AI to generate the LLMs, if that becomes a problem first. So are we in a bubble? Yes. Do I see it bursting anytime in the foreseeable future? Not for a lot of reasons why some people think that we're in the bubble in the first place. I think it's a power thing that's going to cap us before we actually see there's too many data centers that can do these wonderful things with AI.
So you think that a narrowing of energy supply will keep AI from progressing at the hockey stick level that a lot of people are predicting?
I think so. I'm thinking back to our conversation last week when Molly was here and was telling us about just how much power these things suck up and how little of it we have to throw at the problem. And I think that problem probably exhibits itself before you actually see there's just too much capacity as far as data centers and stuff like that are running all these algorithms. I think the power becomes an issue first. Yeah,
the question there is, can the money the tech companies have to throw at energy get them the energy they need as fast as they need it? There was a really good article on The Economist, actually a couple on The Economist this week. One about how China is taking its advantage in manufacturing solar panels and spreading them all around Southeast Asia and Africa in a way that is making power more available. And a lot of people are using them for data centers where they just throw those cheap solar panels up. And then there are a lot of investments going into geothermal that are solving some of the problems that were too expensive to solve before. But now that there's money, they're able to be like, oh, well, we could actually try this. We can try that. And there's some promising things with geothermal. But again, with both of those, it's promising, not necessarily the solution. Shannon, what do you think?
Well, I didn't even think about the power consumption part of it before we started having this conversation, but you're totally right in that sense. Like, that's a big concern as well. For me, I had two reasons going into this about why I think that we are in an AI bubble, but I think we're in the kind of the beginnings of noticing that it's an AI bubble. And I think this bubble is going to continue for probably a few more years. At least that would be my estimate based on conversations I've had in like different companies I've been around and conversations that I've had with those companies. So one reason is I've seen like market share caps, I've seen stockholder information from different companies about how they're basically throwing money back and forth between themselves and Nvidia, and these companies are like passing that money back and forth, developing AI and LLMs and trying to work out different ways that they can promote this and market it towards consumers. And a lot of the ideas they're coming up with are really fascinating and really cool, but I'm also wondering, like, how far can they get before it actually is deemed profitable? And will it ever get to that point where it's deemed profitable? And the second reason why I think it's an AI bubble is because I've had like anonymous conversations with people who work in the industry, whether it's PR or they're working at a lot of these tech companies, and even they think that it's a bubble. So if they think it's a bubble, then there's certainly, I feel like that's a tell, just in general.
Usually inside the bubble means you can't see the bubble, but you're saying there's people inside the bubble that definitely see the bubble.
There are people in the bubble who are like, I wonder if this is a bubble. And I'm like, yeah, it probably is.
I think that might be a bubble.
I think you're in it.
Yeah. Sarah, what's your take on this?
Well, I mean, my take is a little bit different. I echo the sentiments that everybody has already mentioned, but I also see a lot of, and I don't want to call it backlash, because I think we're not quite there yet. I mean, there are certain people who are like, I don't like artificial intelligence, large language models, not for me. And maybe you're an author. Maybe you just have some other reason that it doesn't work with your life, and that's totally your prerogative. But I'm seeing more and more just kind of memey, but discourse online of people being like, all these companies are offering me these AI tools that I don't want. I want to use the tool that I already had. I don't want the AI version of this tool. Now, there are lots of reasons that companies are doing this. Many companies are simply competing with each other and offering a lot of similar tools, the big tech companies, of course, but, startups, that whole thing. And then, there's definitely the category of the company saying, we're just going to save us a lot of money, so this is what we're doing. If you don't like it, you can find another product. So there's that whole thing, and that can be frustrating to folks as well. And then, of course, there's the scenario where AI actually is pretty great and makes everybody's lives easier. I think we can all think of scenarios where it's ingrained in our lives now and wasn't not that long ago. And I would be kind of annoyed if I was like, ChatGPT goes away. I mean, my life won't end. I'll figure out something else. But it was kind of part of my workflow. It was helping me, be more productive. So I think that you're kind of getting to a point where lots of consumers who are supposed to be the people who are the most into all of these tools. Otherwise, what's the point? A lot of people are like, what is this for exactly? I don't want this.
Yeah. I mean, there's no guarantee that someone is going to come up with the profitable use case for this at this point. There's lots of possibilities that they can, but there's no guarantee. Roger, what about you?
I mean, bubble's just a term for what people like to define as a lot of exuberance and money being put into something without any sort of tangible or at least immediate return that they can see. In other words, if you take it with something that everyone's familiar with, real estate, when we talk about a housing bubble, We're talking about where prices are running so high that people are falling over themselves trying to get loans in order to buy them. But oftentimes these loans are built upon people who don't have the income in order to pay off, or at least pay the regular mortgage on them, making it sort of if you look at it, if you step back and look at it from a 50-foot view, you're looking at, well, this doesn't make sense. People are making less than what the mortgage would cost them each month, and I think we're at the beginnings of what people would call, like, there's no return on all this money that's come out yet. You haven't seen someone suddenly make that one LLM product or other generative AI product that literally propels them to the top of the heap outside of Nvidia, but they build hardware. So I think, and this is the thing, bubbles are all built on investor sentiment. So until that sentiment starts to dip or go the other direction, it's still going to keep growing, because you saw that, like, people say, 2008 was when the bubble burst. If you wind it back far enough, you can see sort of where the actual ledge was around the middle of 2006, but the sentiment around it didn't really catch up until 2008. And that's when everyone sort of, slammed on the brakes. It's like, hey, we're wasting money. We're never going to get it back. We might as well cut our losses.
Well, I mean, 1999, another good example of that, right?
Well, yeah. And
bring that up, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you bring up 99, you bring up the .com era bubble, and that was hundreds, maybe even in the low thousands of companies that had enormous amounts of money thrown at them to build websites for ideas that they had no idea how they were going to make money off of it. When we're talking about AI, there's a lot of companies that are doing AI, but it's really 6 to 10 ginormous companies that are trying to build data centers everywhere they can get power to do so. So that to me, it just feels like a different type of bubble. It feels more like a hardware bubble. And what I would imagine, if it bursts, it's not like those servers just go to waste and they're going to be sitting there abandoned. There's other stuff that could be done on them. So if computing doesn't go away,
the railroad analogy, right? The railroad companies all went bust, but the railroads were still there, and somebody made good use of them for a long time.
Even with the .com bust, there was a lot of ideas like Webvan that eventually did work out to be a workable model. You just needed a different type of company in order to exploit it. And I think
and also that end consumer being like, I get this, I want this.
Well, it's not just
instead of just like a few early adopters.
But you need to make it financially make sense. And I think that's where people say bubble. It's like, where does the financial? It's not that when you have a bubble and it bursts, everything goes away. It's rather that all this money that suddenly you had this giant funnel of money just pouring in everything starts to get pulled back, because people want to see where their returns are coming from, right? If I'm dumping $500,000, $2 million, $50 million into a company, at some point you're going to want to see a return. Now, if you're Amazon, you can just keep growing like mold, and you get to a certain size where people say, yeah, I get the value of this company. But right now, I think we're in the early stages, and I think what you'll see is a lot of sort of climb, and then you'll see a short decline, and then another climb and a short decline, sort of a staircase graph, until someone hits on the idea, and that's when things will sort of level out, because people are in the kind of gold rush mentality. I got to stake my claim now. If I don't do it, someone's going to pass me by, and then in 5 years, someone else already has the real estate, the footprint on this over me, and so I better do it now before someone else. Give me the money. I'll plant the flag while we can.
Yeah, I keep saying, don't forget, Netflix, Amazon, and Google were .com companies. Yeah. They were companies that were created in the 90s as part of the .com era. And if you go back to 1999, nobody knew that those were the ones that would survive out of that. And so if you look at what's going on today, we do have a slightly different situation, like we said earlier, about, we've got bigger companies investing a lot more money in infrastructure. So there's that railroad aspect of it that wasn't necessarily there in the .com boom. But I think there's a lot of parallels of a lot of people are trying a lot of stuff. We're way too early in this to know which of these things are going to be useful. That's what the CEO of Hugging Face was saying, is general purpose LLMs are not it. That's just a thing that works really well, and it allows people to experiment and try stuff. But as soon as you narrow them, as soon as you limit them and make them good at a particular thing, then they become really good. And it's the companies that figure out how to do that well that are going to do well out of all of this.
it kind of goes back to what I was thinking, is that like you're going to see a lot of kind of growth and then retraction, growth and retract. It's not linear. You're not going to have this straight line that goes up. It's going to dip down. It's going to go back up, dip down, because that's the industry figuring out, okay, that doesn't work. We'll take, we'll shift over to a different tact. That doesn't work. You'll see people going this way and that way until they figure out, all right, streaming video is where it's at. It's not this mail order DVD. We have the infrastructure now.
Yeah, you try a bunch of things because if you don't try them, you don't know which ones work.
And people will lose money because that's how the system works. You cannot have a system where everyone wins, right? This isn't, summer camp.
So here's a question. Does anyone see this bubble that we're probably in bursting before many jobs are displaced because of what AI can do? I'm just thinking about, Verizon.
I like to use the word displaced too, because they won't be eliminated. They'll just be moved. Yeah.
But Verizon, they're laying off 13,000 folks. And one of the reasons they say that they're doing so is because they want to figure out what they can do with AI.
I think, it's been interesting you bring that up, because a lot of people think it's just going to be just one giant mass layoff. Like they open the floodgates and a bunch of people pour out of their buildings with their hands in their pockets, figuring out what they're going to do next with their life. And I think it's going to be staggered. It's going to have this industry, that industry, and then some industries figure out, wait a minute, we actually need those people because AI allows us to do this really well, but we still need people to help implement it. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of back and forth. It's like sailing. You're tacking against the wind, and you're going to have to figure out at some point, this group of middle managers needs to go. And then you build a new system. It's like, well, we need some middle managers to help, do flight control for all the, people and the stuff. And I think honestly, I'm with Tom. I think it's too early to tell. I think people are like trying to focus like 10 years into the future, how this all plays out. And I don't think we don't know exactly what the tools we have and what the tools that will be coming online over the next 5 years it's going to look like. Are we going to need that much power? Are we going to have super efficient, narrow-focused LLMs that allow people to...
Because it's such early days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not all of our stories on DTNS Live or DTNS, and our family of shows are about AI, but I mean, increasingly, that's a big dominating news item. Yeah. And it's like... This company, has a new model. This company just updated their model. This company is, investing in this data center. We're at the precipice of what's to come.
And I think there's a lot. I think a lot of people are right to focus and kind of figure where everything will be at. I think, unfortunately, that they're using a lot of not misinformation. I think they're just maybe extrapolating too far ahead with the data that we have. That it's kind of like the weather. You can focus maybe a couple of weeks in the future on whether or not it's going to rain. It's really hard to do that maybe like a couple of years into the future to figure out when.
Also, it helps your explanation of why you're laying off people if you can say it's AI, whether it really is or not. So there's a little of that.
That's true.
I had a bad night in Vegas.
Yeah. Well, if you've had a good night in Vegas, you might want to sink those earnings into our store because we got all kinds of cool new stuff at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. There's a hat that I made during a live stream earlier this week because somebody asked for it. I'm like, all right, let's do a hat. Len Peralta made Techie Santa for us, and we've put it everywhere we can think of. There's a T-shirt, there's a mug, there's a hoodie, there's a greeting card. It's Santa with a little virtual Apple Vision Pro style thing on his face, carrying a bag full of good technology like laptops. He's got drones pulling his sleigh. We actually designed this on a live stream as well. Len, thank you for making that. Get that and more at dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
Flock's cloud-connected cameras are a popular tool for U.S. police departments to capture images of vehicles and then cross-reference them against national and state crime databases. Okay, but the use of Flock cameras is causing some concern. Shannon, I know you've been following the story, so what are Flock cameras and why are people worried?
Yeah, I have been following this, and Sarah, I'm kind of obsessed. Like, this is my new thing. I am hyper focused on flock cameras, to their demise, probably. It's really bad. So flocksafety.com. This is a company. It's an independent private company that developed these cameras called Flock cameras, Flock systems. These Flock cameras are being contracted out to different cities, different law enforcement agencies, and they are being installed all over the country. In fact, there are thousands of them that have already been installed. Through my research into this, it turns out a lot of them have been installed without any kind of input from like citizens or anything like that, even though a lot of our tax dollars are going into the installation and development of building out these entire flock safety maps. So luckily there are a couple of ways that you can kind of figure out where they are since these cameras are being installed, and dflock.me is this independent open source map that you can use to figure out where these cameras are. So you can look at that and kind of figure out if there's any in your neighborhood. And it turns out even in my own neighborhood, there's like 4 of them. So I was able to find quite a few quite quickly. And they're supposed to be developed with law enforcement agencies, installed with LEO, in order to stop crime. So the way that you use these flock cameras is law enforcement will log into their local database, their local flock camera database, and be able to see a bunch of imagery of all the cars that have passed along a road. You'll usually see these installed along roadsides or at cross sections, 4-way stops. They're very popular in neighborhoods, and you'll usually see a whole bunch of them set up in those kind of areas.
And this isn't like oh, you were speeding type stuff. This is something totally different.
In fact, when I first saw them, I didn't know what they were, and it kind of just bypassed my mind because I had no idea what this company was or what these cameras were. I thought that they were speed cameras because you usually saw them set up around like stoplights. So I was like, oh, okay, it's a speed camera, like good to know, but I didn't think twice about it. But it turns out they're license plate readers. They're surveillance cameras that are being used to stop crime. And to their credit, they have stopped some crimes. For example, CBS News reported on car thefts that were stopped using these flock cameras. So they have been used in some positive ways for law enforcement agencies, but recently, a lot of information has come out amid concerns of privacy for these flock cameras. A lot of different cities and a lot of different states have been looking into their uses. They've been looking into their privacy protections, and even some cities and states like Washington State has decided to just turn them off entirely, even though they put in all this investment money to get them installed, because of privacy concerns. So in my opinion, when I first started researching this, I was like, this seems like they were installing them too fast, because they all kind of popped up over the past couple of years. It feels like they were installing them too fast without any kind of input from like security and privacy advocates who might bring concerns that regular regulators and law enforcement may not necessarily think about or want to put any kind of research into before actually installing these things. And the problem that we're now experiencing, because a lot of people are like, what are these cameras? Let me look into it, is they just started getting hacked. So this is fun. Great. And when it comes to like license plate readers, surveillance cameras, thousands of them across the country, and now we're finding out that they're getting hacked. That's not a good sign for anybody. No matter if you're a criminal or not, if anybody can look up this database and see where your car is at any time and be able to make a database of your specific license plate, that's a
and your
concern.
habits, right?
And your habits, yeah, absolutely. Like that could be bad for people that might want to figure out when you're out of town or when you go to work and figure out when your house is empty. If you have a stalker, if somebody is following you, like there's a lot of concerns here when it comes to the potential of somebody like being able to hack into one of these databases that is usually just for law enforcement, but apparently anybody can get in. So at this point, I was like, okay, that's concerning. I had a law enforcement agent send me a DM over Instagram one day, and he was like, we use these things, they're great. So I asked him, is there any kind of encryption? He didn't know. I also asked him if they use two-factor authentication, and he said, well, my jurisdiction does not, but I don't know about every other jurisdiction. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Well, apparently nobody uses 2FA for these things, so if anybody gets access to a username and password, those could be stolen. Like, anybody could log into these databases. Cool. That's just great.
I mean, I think
if
everyone
you
who,
hack into a particular camera, can you leverage that to get into the database? Is that the idea?
So in this case, the username and password for a law enforcement agent is actually used to log into the jurisdiction's database of all the different cameras.
Oh, so like a web portal. You don't need an access to
Yeah, it's a web
the
portal.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's a web portal. But that brings me to the next thing I just found out this morning. I was watching a YouTube video by another creator, and his name is Ben. Oh, what's his last name?
Jordan.
Ben Jordan. Yes, Ben Jordan. So Ben Jordan did a whole bunch of research into these things, and he interviewed some cybersecurity researchers. He found out that you can use Hack5 products to hack the cameras themselves. Now, I don't recommend you do that. I do not recommend touching anything that is not your personal device, and do not hack into anything that you do not own. That is illegal. But he found out that there are open USB ports on the back of these things. There's a specific amount of times you can press a button to reset the Wi-Fi access point and be able to figure out what the access point is, and you can clone the access point and steal data that way. There's so many different ways that these cameras are vulnerable, and people are just now figuring it out. There's so many of them. It kind of blew my mind when I figured this out. I also, and this is cool too, I just got this in the mail. We got some music going on. What is that?
Somebody's phone's ringing.
Yeah, it's fun. I like
Kid
it.
is trying to call. The only people who are able to call me during the show, call me during the show.
Of course they do.
So I also just got this in the mail. This is from a fellow hacker named Colonel Panic, colonelpanic.tech. He has developed these devices, which you can use. You can go around in your car, for example, plug one of these in. It runs off a Python script, and it uses Wi-Fi and BLE in order to tell you, like with little audio frequencies or audio notifications, where these cameras are. So when you're
like,
in your
it's like Waze
car
for flock
it
cameras.
totally is. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
Coming
so
up.
I haven't
Red
even
light
had
camera ahead.
I even put snoop unto them as they snoop unto us. And I just love that. So cool. It's very cool that how hackers are like, well, if these things are surveilling us, then we can surveil them and figure out where all these cameras are. So we might as well. So a lot of people are looking into these cameras right now. There has also been news coming out about the cameras accusing the wrong people just based on where a car is at a specific time. Here in Colorado, there was a case of a woman who was falsely accused of being a porch pirate by a cop who went to her front door and started accusing her. She had to prove her innocence by using the dash cams on her Rivian in order to show them exactly where she was going.
That's another example
wasted,
of the tech being misused.
Yeah.
It was very misused. Yeah, it was misused in that case. So we're seeing a lack of security. There's a lack of transparency when it comes to how exactly these devices are being used. And there's also this extremely quick rollout without any input from civilians, from people that live in the cities where these are being installed. But also on the same side, like I like to live in a safe community, and I'm sure everybody does too. So when you have devices that are so broadly surveilling us, but they aren't secure, like how do you fix that problem? Yeah. And it makes me feel really terrified that anybody can log into these things, and they're so hackable. I even went so far as going to a local dog park, and I found one of these devices, and I looked at it myself, and I was able to take a few pictures of it. I even walked up to it and waved at it. So if anybody hacks into the jurisdiction, like in the Denver area, and sees a picture of a girl waving at a camera, that's me. That was me. Yeah, I was I was grimacing. I was like, I hate this thing. Why is this here? It's at a dog park of all places. But you can see them in person, and you can see like the USB ports on the back, and you can see how tall they are. They're not very tall. Somebody with like a short stool could get up to one of those things and easily touch it. So like if you're, I don't know, hiding your identity and you get up to one of those things, I do not suggest you do. I don't suggest that. But if somebody did, there's nothing to stop them from like taking one of those things down and hacking into it. So I'm concerned. I would love to know if you're concerned too. I'm sure you are.
I'm pretty concerned. It is amazing to me. It's not shocking because I've been living for a long time, and I've seen just how lax municipalities can be on things that they implement and the security that, on those things. But it's crazy to me that you don't even have to go to like Radio Shack. You literally just go on to Amazon for a couple $100. You can buy a whole kit, for a few $100 that you could hack a police department's, you can hack their license plate reader, technology. That is just absolutely nuts to me. Not surprising. It's just, wow, guys, have we not thought about hiring CISOs that can look at this stuff before you actually go in and make these purchases? Because this stuff is, I'm just, as you're talking, Shannon, I'm just looking through like Reddit and people talking about just how wide open these things are. And you could just you don't even need to use a ladder. You could just put like a USB drive on a pole and go and stick it in the back and pull data down. It's nuts how easily you can get data off of these things that we should not be able to easily get data off of.
I even saw part of the YouTube video I watched this morning. They found a demo website by doing some Google foo. They searched it up. They found a demo website. This cybersecurity researcher did, and they looked at the code for the demo website, which was just supposed to be used to like demo this to potential law enforcement agencies that might want to get a license with Flock. They have a live API worked into the code, which you could use to figure out the API for the actual jurisdictions that are using these devices. So anybody could have found that. Anybody could have. Like, there's so many ways that these are being hacked.
They actually use production kits for demos.
They need a bug bounty program.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah,
They need a bug bounty program. They should have hired cybersecurity researchers before implementing them across the United States.
They should do it now, too. It's not too late. Hurry up. Let's get this done, folks. Yeah. Come on.
Well,
or
let's
just
talk
remove them entirely until they can actually fix all this stuff.
There's your other option. Absolutely.
Let's talk about watches. We're not talking about hacking into watches, not even really talking about smartwatches, but we're talking about Swiss watchmaker Swatch, which has been dabbling in customization for a few years. You might recall Swatch and You, which let you tweak one of Swatch's models with some preset designs. You could add a chip for NFC payments. You could add a personal message on the back. It wasn't really all that big a deal. Pardon me. But now we've got Swatch AI DADA, DADA. That's the new thing with Swatch. So you log into your Swatch account if you have one. You prompt AI data with your own ideas. Then it gives you a unique to you watch design with prompts. You're using prompts that are actually provided by OpenAI with all new Gent Swatch models. So just one of many Swatch models that are offered. The new Gent models are the ones that are going to be using this. You get a one of one sign on the back that sort of proves that like this is yours, and it's a very, very personal phone or watch. OpenAI is providing the software, as I mentioned, but Swatch says it actually pulled back some of OpenAI's own restrictions to allow more creativity from its users. It also tells Wired it includes guardrails of its own, some restrictions already in place from OpenAI to stop people from making inappropriate content watches. You can only imagine what, that could drum up otherwise. Or watches with something like a fake logo, which would be a real issue for Swatch, and an issue for that other company as well. The model also defaults to a data set of vintage Swatch watches. For anybody who was, alive in the 80s, watches were very cool back then. I know they're very cool now. I haven't had one for a while, but I definitely, as a kid, I remember them being a very nostalgic thing that you would get for Christmas. So you got products, designs, art, and street paintings that are all kind of at the ready in this model to make your new watch. Wanted to ask everybody. So few things. Swatch says it's owning all the designs created, although that data will be anonymized. Bit of a red flag, at least for some folks. Like, wait a second. No, like you're going to let somebody else, print that watch that I already printed. You're only allowed 3 prompts per day. The new Gent model is the only watch model. So no moon swatches for anybody who's like, ooh, moon swatches. Those are like the very cool ceramic new swatches that are on the market that are, more expensive. Moon swatches are not part of this, at least not now. But Swatch makes a lot of watches. So if you're interested, available in Switzerland, November 21st, priced around 170 Swiss francs, which is around $210 US. Base model, $95. So it's definitely a significant move up from the base model. But Shannon, I wanted to ask you, would you like to make a Sailor Moon swatch?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that while you were talking about this. I would love to have my own.
It was the first thing I thought of. I was like, what would be my theme? Shannon, she's got one already.
That is my theme for everything, so it would work out quite well, and it would be my aesthetic.
Here's a question: Can you change the designs over time with the same watch, or do you have to buy a new watch every time you want a new design?
I think that's a very good question. The design is the watch face. So there's a possibility that, like any smartwatch, really, you could change the face over time, but it's also the band. The whole thing is like it's also not really a smartwatch, right? I mean, you're not really plugging it in and doing much to it. It just looks a certain way.
I just want to, if I were to get one, I want to make it look like a BlackBerry Pearl.
See, the thing
does
is,
not surprise me. Very on
I'm
brand.
gonna guess they won't let you do either of these things. That they don't have a license to use Sailor Moon, so they're not going to let you do that. They probably are worried about BlackBerry trademark, so they're probably not going to do that either, right? Anything fun you could think
inspired.
of. Yeah, maybe you can get around it and get through the filter. I'm guessing they have human reviewers on all this stuff too.
Well, that was what I was thinking. Is like, okay, if they say they have safeguards in place, you're going to be able to make something that's problematic. Some human reviewer over at Swatch is going to have to be like, no, I can't sell that to Sarah. Like, we're not doing that. That's not, if she gets it and it gets out that we let her do this, then that's really, really bad for the brand. It feels like tiptoeing on something cool, but also something a little bit like, if somebody's paying upwards of $250 for something like this and they make it something that could be problematic later, it's an interesting hardware situation for something that is largely digital, right? AI produced things. You've got all the kind of online social network stuff where people are just having fun. You've got content creators who are really doing interesting things with it. You've got a company like Swatch who's like, we want to do something interesting with this that is tangible and you look at. And there's nothing inherently wrong with any of those things. But I wonder how they keep people from acting badly.
And I know at least one person listening is wondering. So it is 9:52.53 in Swatch Internet time as we record this.
Oh, yes, good stuff. All right. Well, if you like Swatch watches, as I did when I was a kid, let us know. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. In that vein, let's check out the mailbag. Chris Christensen has a handy tip if you are visiting China, which he did recently, and you want to use ride-sharing service DiDi.
This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler with another Tech in Travel Minute. I'm in China this week for a wedding and a Yangtze River cruise, and when I got to the Shanghai airport, I took a Didi. And Didi is the local version of a ride-sharing app like Uber or Lyft. The problem that I ran into with Didi is that when I searched for the hotel, I found nothing. You first have to choose which city you're in. I had to tell it I was in Shanghai. And then it also didn't know which of the 3 zones I was in, zone 1, 2, or 3. And so I had to text the driver and say I couldn't tell because it was clipped. And the driver texted me back, take a picture of where you're standing and send it to me. And the driver was able to do that even though he spoke no English and I spoke no Mandarin, because the app will translate for you. He picked me up and all was fine. Oh, and the app does pay in advance, at least for a long drive like I did. And sometimes it'll do a down payment, so something to know. This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler.
What kind of interest rate do I get on that down payment on my Didi ride?
It's pretty cool, though, the translation.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool. So James the Trucker wrote in about some of our negative feelings about Facebook from last week's show and writes, FB has serious problems right now. They've algorithmically destroyed the newsfeed, but compare the daily actives to any other social media platform, and Facebook dominates. Y'all hate Facebook because you're using it wrong. Y'all are trying to build, maintain, and inform an audience. Facebook is for staying in touch with people you actually care about. I'm not saying you don't care about your audience. The vast majority of Facebook users don't have a second of thought about their reach, footprint, or audience. We want to see pictures of our nephew's big game, our sister's vacation, our niece's new baby. Honestly, if I were y'all, my Facebook would be under a fake name. Who wants a notification about some rando's hot take when you're trying to interact with family and friends?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Facebook is still huge because of that. Because there isn't another place that most people in a family know and know how to use that they can go to. It's just, it's a little bit of inertia, if you ask me.
It's also, I think it's important to note that, I mean, Facebook, you can still use Facebook in a variety of different ways, but back in the day, Facebook was heavily promoting, if you were a public figure, you've got your friends and family account, and then you have your public figure account. In fact, I had to for some time, and then I was kind of like, this makes no sense. I don't want to maintain 2 accounts. But that is largely gone by the wayside. Some people still use Facebook for that, but it isn't really something that the company is hoping people will adopt.
I still have 2, and I just
go ahead.
Sorry, I still have 2. I just don't know how to delete my public-facing page. I
don't think I ever deleted mine. I just hit it. I think it still exists. I was like, I don't know. I don't post anything there. It's like useless for people.
It's taking up 10 megabytes on a server somewhere.
Yeah. Indeed it is.
And then Adam wrote in response to us talking about Spotify audiobook summaries. Adam said, a different situation, but I recently wanted to watch the new movie Ballerina from the world of John Wick. I watched the earlier Wick movies a long time ago, and I didn't remember the plots, so I asked ChatGPT to give me a summary of the movies. I used the voice narrator, and in about 2.5 minutes, had a good summary of the John Wick series of movies.
That is such a good tip.
You could kind of roll your own, just make this yourself.
I usually go to Wikipedia, and I'm like, John Wick Part 2. I haven't seen any of these movies, but, just a movie in general, because there's always some summary. Who was involved, what the plot was, cast members. But yeah, that usually takes more than 2.5 minutes. So
the difference is ChatGPT probably, it's going to be harder to get it to know where you are in a book. That's the advantage of the Spotify one, is it can just tell you like, oh, you've read this much. Here's a reminder of what happened. So that's pretty nice that it's customized. Amazon's doing that for Prime Video. They just had an article came out. There were some articles came out today saying that Amazon's going to have this where you can get a summary of the video. If you're like partway through a movie and you can't remember where you were in the movie, it can summarize up to then.
Well, thanks to everybody who sends in great feedback each week. Keep it coming. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And of course, if you're one of our patrons, anything that you post to Patreon as well, we read it and we respond, and sometimes it makes it into the show too.
You know who else makes it into the show is Len Peralta, who's been drawing today's show. Len, what have you drawn for us today?
Oh, I'm always thinking dark, right? Your stories, I always try to think the worst case scenario. This is, I decided to do the one about flock, and this one is called "Are We Flocked?" It's pretty dark.
I like it.
That is excellent. That's really
so
good. That is really good.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's very atmospheric. So if you're not watching the stream, go check it out. You can go check it out at my Patreon, patreon.com/Len. And by the way, if you actually back me, you can get this print and you can put it up and maybe make a statement about flock, or you can go the old-fashioned way, go to my online store, lenperaltastore.com, where, of course, Tom mentioned it earlier, I drew a card for DTNS, and I am doing custom holiday cards again. So reach out to me and have a human create your art.
That's what we did. You should do it too.
Now, Len, and I know people not watching the video are going to be even more curious, is the scary bird on top of the flock, or just scary bird that wants to hang out with scary cameras?
I think the scary bird is representing flock. Yes.
Okay. So it could go both ways, really.
Could go both ways. Yes, I guess that's open for interpretation.
Shannon Morse, you are not scary. In fact, you're the absolute opposite of scary because you make us smarter every time you're on the show. Let folks know where you've been up to lately and where we can keep up with it.
YouTube.com/Shannon Morse. I am currently in the middle of a 30-day security challenge. This was actually something I did way back in 2017 on Tech Thing, my old show. I decided to revamp it because it's 2025 and a lot has changed in terms of security and privacy. So I'm doing a brand new 30-day security challenge. You can follow along. Almost every single day I'm posting a video. I'm not burnt out yet, but it might happen by the end of the year. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
You can do
It's
it.
a lot of work.
Folks, during the show, you've been submitting titles over at dtns.showbot.tv, and we've got a bunch of them. There's over 50 submissions, over 100 votes. So let's kick it off with "Sharing with Mixed Phone Families" by Stealth Dave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sharing is caring. Really,
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Google just, in quotes, air dropped "Quick Share" by W. Scottis One.
Cute.
Large layoff models by Batman 2001.
Not fake.
It's a good one. I don't like why it's good, but it is a good one.
No,
I mean,
same.
it's clever.
Yeah.
We're not wanting people to be laid off, but that's very clever.
Zoe Brings Bacon comes in with "When will the AI bubble burst?"
Well, we'll find out. Well, eventually.
All right. Well, Sarah, what did we decide to go with this week?
Well, we had a lot of good submissions and a lot of votes. So thanks to everybody for participating. That makes it more fun. But we did go with Batfink 2001's "Get the Flock Out of Here."
Goes very well with Len's art.
Yeah.
It really does.
It really does.
The artwork is excellent this week, Lynn. It's always good, but this
Yeah.
really
Good work, everybody. Let's do it again next week.
Big thanks to everybody who supports us in all the various ways, watching us on LinkedIn, watching us on YouTube, supporting us at Patreon. And you can support us by giving us super chats on YouTube or bits on Twitch. If you're like, what are those? Just ask in the chat room at one of those venues. People will be happy to tell you. Got some great support from Otter Do It, who gave us a follow. Bits from Zoe and PC Milesy. G. James B reached a 25 stream streak for us. Morbius65, the Pack NW Fall Star. Thanks for coming back at tier 1. Both of you got a follow from Bubba Moose. BioCow also back at tier 1. And bits from PC Milesy and Zoe again today. Thanks everybody who supports us in all the various ways, including Patreon, where if you are a patron, the show will not be ending for you right now because we are going to do a special Roger fun game of 6 degrees of 6 degrees of separation, Kevin Bacon style, but with people who played tech personalities. It'll all make sense. Just stick around. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You can watch us live every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That is 2100 UTC. Next Thursday, we are off for the American Thanksgiving holiday. Perhaps you've heard of it. You can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. But as Tom said, we've got some fun stuff for our patrons coming up in just a sec. Be sure to keep up with Daily Tech Headlines and Daily Tech News Show all week plus weekly Live With It episodes. We have new Hangout throughout the week and new bonus weekend content. So we're here for you all day, every day. And we'll see you next Thursday. Well, or the Thursday after that for DTNS Live.
This episode of DTNS Live was created by the following people. Producer and host Sarah Lane, host Tom Merritt, host Robb Dunewood, producer Roger Chang, video producer Joe Kuntz, producer at large Anthony Lemos, contributing producers Kevin Tech, Noel Xiao, and Brandon Richards, social media producer and moderator Zoe Detterding, our mods, Beatmaster, W. Scottus 1, BioCow, Captain Kipper, Steve Guadarrama, Paul Reese, Matthew J. Stevens, a.k.a. Gadget Virtuoso, and J.D. Galloway. Mod and video hosting by Dan Christensen. Music provided by Martin Bell and Dan Luters. Art by Len Peralta. Acast ad support from Tatiana Matias. Patreon support from Bobby Wagner. Our guests this week were Shannon Morse and Chris Christensen. And thanks to all our patrons who make the show possible. We love you.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
do 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 do.